Hello, Miss Tracy. So there aren't necessarily a lot of people doing what I'm doing, but there are people, and they're called functional medicine practitioners. And there's probably one in your area too. So if you get frustrated with me, which I understand, my life's crazy. Um, you don't have to go to a traditional doctor. You can go to a functional medicine doctor or practitioner. They may not have the word doctor after them, but I have been working on your case, so we have a lot of stuff we've been working on. So what I'm going to do is try to give a quick synopsis here of what's going on, what I believe is going on, and I'm going to give you some basic stuff to start with. So let's go ahead and just look at this. I went through your labs all over again, and so um, one of the things we can see is we see again the ferritin, which is an inflammational marker, um, very high inflammation, and it just looks like your body just metabolically has not been running very well at all, which means the way you make energy, how energy is being used, your cellular metabolism, inflammation really comes from dysfunctional cellular metabolism, but we don't need to go into all that. But here's kind of the diagnostic opinion that I agree with. Tracy's weight gain and hair loss are primarily driven by insulin resistance. So we see the high insulin number, which we'll want to retest later to verify that. We see the high triglycerides, which again, all of those high lipid tests are inflammational and often driven by insulin resistance. So that whole cholesterol issue you see when we scroll down here and we just go, oh my God, what is all that? That is very inflammatory. Okay. And you'll notice the labs associate that with chronic heart disease or cardiac heart disease or uh, so that's what we see down here, that it puts you at a higher risk for heart disease. But again, that's inflammation. So we see that your hair loss, your weight gain is driven by insulin resistance. We see systemic inflammation, which is the ferritin we see there, and the cholesterol labs, vitamin D deficiency, and postmenopausal hormonal changes that have affected you. So again, we're going to see what's called metabolic syndrome, or it mostly in this sense, we're talking about insulin resistance, inflammation, and again, dyslipidemia, which is cholesterol issues. Postmenopausal hormone deregulation, yes. Low estradiol, normal testosterone contribute to weight gain and hair loss. We see the hydroxypregnenolone suggests adrenal stress, and adrenal stress would be related to our cortisol labs that we might want to get because adrenal stress and cortisol release lead to a lot of glucose spike, and which would drive insulin higher and higher, and often leads to fatigue and weight gain. Um, Vitamin D deficiency is part of it. The labs that we just looked at, I looked at the thyroid and then I looked at the testosterone. So it kind of ruled out the idea of a thyroid issue at this point. It also ruled out the idea that there was too much testosterone occurring that was leading to it. And we don't see a prolactin issue. Nope. So that's really a issue with the pituitary gland, but we don't see that. And then there's some other issues, maybe adrenal dysfunction, which would be related to cortisol and adrenaline from the adrenal glands. We see inflammation, and then up here the idea of sleep apnea. You'll have to tell me about that to see if that's an issue for you. So basically, we're looking at a simple kind of metabolic issue right here, and then we're going to go down. And here's what I'm going to recommend. I'm also going to send you some dietary plan, some information to you. I already created it, so I'm going to email it to you. We're going to start a very low carb diet. We're not doing 50 grams. We're going to drop it down to 20. And then I'm going to give you a better kind of issue there, a better meal plan, or ideas anyway. We probably don't want to use spinach. Spinach has a lot of oxalates in it, which are inflammatory. Um, so we probably won't use that. But we're going to use the low carb with high fats in it to be able to treat the inflammation is what we're going to do. You'll see later that we have omega-3s here. Omega-3s are fats that are very anti-inflammatory. So, and omega-6s are very inflammatory. So we're going to focus on omega-3s. So here we see a supplement, vitamin D. Yep, we need to find a good source for that. NAC, I have a very good source. I'll send you my link on that. Omega-3s, I'm going to send you a link on that one too. Magnesium, you could probably get anywhere. You just want to buy a decent product. And the B complex, I want to send you a link on that too because I've been using a very good one that's very affordable. And CoQ10 is always sold at Costco and Sam's Club. So these are all cellular supplements that can increase better metabolic function and be able to bring down inflammation, because that's really what we want to do. The labs, at some point, we want to repeat the insulin one. We need a reverse T3. We're going to go back to that. We'll talk about that later. The adrenal, which we need the cortisol test for. Those are just issues there. If we need to do a sleep study, I do have a kit that I could mail you, and we could do one at home. It costs about $200, so it's not like having to go through a whole sleep study, and it might tell us what's going on. And then we're going to go on down, and we're going to see, well, why is this diagnosis fit? Insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome, primary driver is that high insulin level. It fits really well with hair loss and weight gain. The inflammation, again, is very related, again, to hair loss. The post-menopausal changes definitely affect it. Vitamin D insufficiency and adrenal stress. So we are missing some labs here. We need the reverse T3, the 2-hour insulin again, magnesium, thyroid, insulin, and in this case, I want the cortisol, so we may do that. So Tracy's weight gain and hair loss is driven by insulin resistance, inflammation, vitamin D insufficiency, postmenopausal changes, and adrenal stress. Start Jolly Shaluan, which you're already on, and then there's some points. We're going to move into keto diet, a strict one. We're going to add the NAC, the vitamin D, the omega-3s, and we're going to go from there. So if we go on down over here, that hasn't had a big issue yet, I found. We found out that there wasn't a high load of testosterone going on. Vitamin D was very low again. The insulin was twice the rate it needed to be, very high. Again, we'll want to retest for that at some point. So that's those areas. Let me see if I have some other ones I want to talk to you about. So Tracy's high lipid levels, your cholesterol issues, are driven by insulin resistance, inflammation, postmenopausal changes, lifestyle, of course. We want to reinforce our keto, 20 grams or less per day. That's what we want to do. Then later on, we'll retest for lipids, insulin, and cortisol at some point. And that's going to be our plan. Let's see if I have anything else for you. Yes, I do have a dietary thing I'm going to send you. That looks clear. That's clear. We're good there. Okay. So I'm going to send you the plan. Basically, your plan is going to start with adding supplements, which I'll send you some links to, and getting on a strict keto. I'll send you some meal plan ideas, the aim, the direction you want to go. Let me know how you feel about it. Okay? All right. Then I will see you in a while.